Okay, here we go. Another video without an intro song. Thanks, everybody. All right. Happy Friday. Even though this is Thursday. I'm going to shoot Thursday afternoon, and then I'm going to attempt to learn some editing tonight. We'll see how it goes. If I can do it, I will edit it and get it in tomorrow morning. If not, I'm throwing it up raw, baby. Friday breakdown. That's what today's video is. We're going to talk about the schedule for the weekend, the games that we're playing, the days that we have scheduled to meet up, the hours, the venues, any special events. So that'll be what we do on Fridays. As well as I'm going to try to keep it to 5 to 10 minutes of a breakdown. I'm going to talk a little bit about the rules, but then I'm also going to do our 3-category breakdown. That it's a system that we will use. We will not be using, we're not going to get up and say, oh, this is an 8, or this is a 5 out of 5, or a 3 out of 5, or a 9 out of 10. I'm not going to use the point system. We're also not going to break games down by their mechanistic structure. I think it's along with weight, like BGG weight is completely arbitrary. I think rating a game from 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 is completely arbitrary. I don't think it helps anybody. I think it's great for entertainment, but I don't want to. Eventually, maybe we'll do something that's entertaining. I don't know. I'm focused more on kind of just education, trying to tell people this is the Gehenna Gaming Group way. This is how we do things, and I think it's helpful for me when I'm trying to decide, do I want to buy a game or not, or do I think I will like this game? Do I want to invest 3 hours to learning this game, or playing this game, or whatever? So I think it's a better. I think our system is more indicative of whether or not someone will like a game, or a game will be in tune with them, than just looking at mechanistics of the gameplay, or the weight, or some random reviewer's opinion. Not to say that we won't get into debates, because we will eventually get into debates, and how we do the breakdown, you'll see I've got different categories, and things will fall in a continuum. And on the larger reviews, the larger breakdowns, we'll have multiple continuums, not just the 3 that we're going to use, but we'll always have those 3, the same 3, and we'll always use those same 3 for the Friday breakdown, the 5 to 10 minute breakdown. And I'm calling these just the bite-sized breakdowns. The full meals will be bigger games, and those will be down the line. And we will sit down and we'll debate whether or not, where a game lays on the continuum. But we won't sit there and completely tear down a game, or completely hype up a game. Because at the end of the day, you're not me, and I'm not you. And I don't really think it helps anybody to say if we like or dislike a game. I think it's more important is the way that we break down a game, and we'll explain that as we go. And if I'm right, then this will catch on. And if I'm not, then it won't. And it'll only work for me and my group, and that's fine. But if other people can use it, fantastic. Have at it. We're here to help. We'll do that breakdown as well. And the first one is we're going to do sea salt and paper, mostly because it's, really small. And I know I won't run for an extra 20 minutes. I'll keep it between 5 and 10. Also, normally, what I'll do is I'm going to get I'll do a little introductory video for people who are new to the group, new to the Discord, new to the Facebook server, and people who come and game live with us, because we meet 2 to 3 times a week for now. I'd like to get that number up higher as we get bigger. We'll need to. at different venues and such. We have 3 venues that we frequent now. For the new people, I don't have a video yet. When later on I will, and I'll just link it into the description, and you can go and kind of watch the intro video and then come back and watch the breakdown video. I'll describe all of the introductory stuff, just kind of let you get to know the group and how we operate and how we do things and the terminology we use and such. But for today, I'll just give like a quick little breakdown. We use a lot of different terminology, and it makes it easier when I'm talking about a kind of event we're running to know, oh, this is the expectations. I need to know the rules, or I don't need to know the rules, and this, that, and the third. On Fridays, we have things that we call spotlights. Spotlights are scheduled games, and I will announce them on this video every Friday. If you're ever in our Discord, we've got a Friday Spotlight text channel, and we talk about it all week and when we're trying to figure it out there. So if you ever want to do a Spotlight, let me know. We'll see if you fit in somewhere. And eventually, I'd like to schedule them out weeks in advance, but for right now, we'll just do it 1 week at a time. And we also have on decks. And on decks are similar to spotlights in that whoever's hosting the on deck and the spotlight, they are going to teach it. You do not need to know how to play. As a matter of fact, you're expected to sit through a teach regardless, because that at least one person probably doesn't know how to play. The spotlights all happen. They're the first round of games, and they usually start at 6. Sometimes they'll start maybe at 6:30. Eventually, we're going to do a featured table that will probably start at 7. We'll describe those down the road, though. I'll make that'll be a big announcement when we're ready to do that. We need some equipment and some more expertise before we can do that, because I plan on live streaming those every week. It's going to be fun. The other one that you'll hear us say is if anybody wants to do a rerun. We haven't had a many of these yet, because a rerun is someone hosts it, someone sets it up, but unlike the spotlights and the on decks, when you host a rerun, you are not expected to teach. You're expected to set it up and to announce it, and when and where you're going to host that game. But anyone who's playing is expected to have played it at least once or twice. Maybe at most, whoever hosts a rerun will just do a quick refresher for everybody, just a few minute refresher. We'll also do special events on Fridays especially, but we could have them at other days of the week. Probably never on Monday at Time and Change. That's more casual. Probably won't happen there, but possibly on Bubbly Saturdays, we could do some special events. And those would be things like bringing in a professional storyteller for Blood on the Clock Tower. We've done it a couple times. We'll continue to do it. Workshops where me or someone else will teach, just like it was a workshop at at a community college, whatever it is we're teaching. The first one we'll do is on a whole genre of gameplay called social deduction, just to make it easier for people to get into the Blood on the Clock Tower games. They'll have a little bit better understanding, because social deduction is a very unique genre. We'll do things like RPG one-shots, as well as we run campaigns for different role-playing games, Dungeons & Dragons, and Ron is running Blades in the Dark. I don't know. I have messed that name up so many times. Let me know if I got it right, Ron, please. Right now, so we've got 3 campaigns running, and as we get more dungeon and game masters, we'll continue to do more campaigns. But I'd like to start some one-shots. If anyone wants to ever run a one-shot, let me know. Put it in the comments here, or get a hold of me at Discord or on Facebook or any of the meetups, and I'd like to work something out with you. We'll also do we've done a TCG event for Magic on Pauper. We're going to do other things like that. I'd like to do some more events for things. We do some designer events where designers from the Central Ohio area will bring in their games, their prototypes, to allow us to play test, it's really cool too. But if you have any questions, new people, hop up. You can always look through any of the posts on our Facebook page. There's lots of posts, up to introductory posts on there. There's tons of pictures that you can peruse. We've got tons of text channels in our Discord channel. Get on there, peruse the channels, take a look. You know, if you're a brand new to board games, or even if you're just new to the group, check things out. See what you want to ask questions about, and shoot questions. Hi Hugo. The kitten has joined us. You can't see him, and now he's biting me and messing up my notes. Thanks, Hugo. Hi, sweetheart. Okay, I do want to talk about, before we get into the breakdown of Sea Salt and Paper, I want to talk about how bite-sized breakdowns are going to go. And there's 3 categories that we will do. And when I do a category, I will name the category. I will define what the category means. And then I will set the perimeters of the continuum. So at one side you have this, at the other side you have this. And I will say where I believe this game falls. Okay? The 3 main, and you can make an argument for the 4th with planning, but I will talk about the 3 main categories that will be in every bite size. I might put the 4th one in there. We'll see. The first one is the rule set. And a rule set to me is what do you need to know to be able to play the game, like rules-wise. What are the rules, right? How thick is the rule book? How many edge cases do you have? At one end of the continuum, hi, sweetie. At one end of the continuum, you would have complicated. So I would say this game is very complicated, and that would be at the extreme end, right? Or extremely complicated. And at the other end, you would have streamlined or straightforward. I would be okay with either one of those, streamlined or straightforward. I like streamlined. You can say straightforward. Rule set, either way is fine. And that would be like the rules are just, there's 3 rules. Here they are. That's all you got to do to play the game. Super easy, like 1 sheet rules. That would be an incredibly streamlined rule set. Pumpkin, I got this all laid out here. The next category would be gameplay. So this would be your mechanistic aspect of the game. And I divide gameplay up into 2 categories, and one is mechanics, and those are things that are done in your head. Like memory would be a mechanic, deduction would be a mechanic, right? And then I would say the other are mechanisms, and I call them both. I'll say mechanistics if I'm referring to like the combination of the 2. And you'll hear it in a lot of people. They'll use mechanisms and mechanics interchangeably. I don't. I separate them. And I'll explain that, why I do that later on down the line. But all of gameplay complexity, it goes from simple to complex. And it could be somewhere in between. It could be fairly complicated or fairly complex or fairly simple. The last category that will be in all the bite size is mastery. And I describe mastery as the ability to know the best play that you can take on your turn. Like, what is the best action I can take on this turn to fulfill whatever objective I'm going after, be it win the game or get the most points or have the most sheep, whatever that objective is, you know the best way to go about that on your turn. And mastery goes from difficult to easy. And sometimes something is in the empty set. So in a game like Candyland, there's no possible way to master it because the game literally plays itself. You flip a card and you just got to do what you got to do. There's 0 decision space. So in a game where there's no decision space, and a lot of like kid games it's just pure luck and randomness. There's no tactics. There's no strategy. There is no decision space. There's no player agency. There's nothing. You flip a card or you roll a die and you do what it says, and that's it. That's it. There's not a ton of games that do that anymore. A lot of the older games did. A lot of kid games still probably do. But I would call that is not capable of being mastered. But most games fall in between simple and difficult and mastery. Let's see. Yes, sweetie. I know you want to play. Here. You want this? There you go. All right, let's talk about before we get into the breakdown of Sea Salt and Paper, let's talk about what is the schedule for this weekend. We are tonight, Friday night, we are at the Art Garden. Spotlights start at 6. We have 4 spotlights tonight, all starting, 3 of them start at 6 p.m. Ticket to Ride with Andrea teaching, Lords of Waterdeep with Ron teaching, and Daybreak with Dan teaching. I will put links to all the pertinent links for those in the description below. At 6:30, Trey is going to spotlight Dwellings of Eldervale. It may be full. I don't know. I'll have to talk to him. And he doesn't get off work till 6:30, but he only works 5 minutes away, so he's going to come over after that. I'll get everything set up, and I'll help people, to choose their who they're going to use for the game and that kind of stuff. So I'll get it started. So you'll start as close to 6:30 as we can. I promise. There is an on deck tonight, Parks by Lauren, and how on decks work is. They will be taught just like spotlights. It's just when they're taught is the only difference. So on deck, we have those in case all the spotlights fill and there is still people who want to play, then we will start the on deck immediately. Otherwise, the on deck will be the first game after a table opens up when the spotlight round is done. So the first game tonight on deck is Parks, taught by Lauren. Thank you for that. If anyone ever wants to spotlight a game or host a game or request a rerun or get an on deck ready, just let me know. Put it in the comments below here. Get a hold of us on Facebook. Get a hold of us on Discord or see me at a meetup. And we'll, even if you're like, hey, I'm 2 weeks from now, I can't do anything this week, but 2 weeks can I have a spot? Yeah, of course you can. As long as you've come to the meetings or I know who you are, we'll let you get in. We'll let you host a game, spotlight, or a rerun, or an on deck, whatever it is you want to do or feel comfortable doing, let me know. We'll get you in. And then nothing this Saturday. So last Saturday was our first Saturday at Bubbly. Next Saturday, the 20th, will be our inaugural third Saturday. So going forth, we're going to try to have 2 meetups at Bubbly. The plan is the first and the third Saturday, and who knows going forward. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for that. I think a lot of people are. I think Bubbly's got a chance to grow really, really big. And then Monday, if I didn't mention it before, we have Time and Change, like we do every week. The games typically start around 6. That is a nice crew that's starting to form there. It's fantastic. However, if you want to get some happy hour prices, get there a little bit early, 5:30. Get yourself something to eat and drink for happy hour prices, and then play some games. You usually can get 2 or 3 games in. They're small. We usually don't do huge games, small games. 2-3 games. You're out by 8:30. It's a good time. It's always a good time. Okay, so we are going to now do our bite-sized breakdown of Sea Salt and Paper. Did I call it pepper earlier? Paper. I can't remember if I did. This is a game by Panasaurus Games. I would try to say the designers' names, but I don't want to mispronounce them. So you can check it out in the link below in the description and mispronounce it on your own. I'll let you do that. I'll do that. I'll let you do that. We should probably have like a little cutaway intro for our bite size breakdown. Chew, chew, crunch, crunch, yum. Bite size breakdown. We'll work on that. You'll know that if I do figure out how to edit, that will probably be edited out. So let's hope I learn how to edit. There's only 58 cards in this game, and what I'm going to do now is I only have the one camera. I don't have an overhead camera yet, and I don't know how to edit. So if I do know how to edit, then we'll just make this happen really quickly. But for now, I'm just going to get up and point the camera down. Okay, that'll work for now. All right, I'm going to do a quick rule synopsis, and then I'll get into the breakdown. In Sea Salt and Paper, you only do a couple of things. So this is the board per se. This is what everyone will play out of. You can either draw 2 cards, and out of those 2 cards, you put one into your hand, and the other one goes into one of the 2 discard piles. You may choose which either one, unless one of the discard piles is empty, in which case you have to put it in the empty one first. The only other thing you can do, instead of drawing the 2, you can take a card from either of the discard piles and put it directly into your hand. After you have done that, if you have any of the duos, you can play. These are the duos. When you play a duo, you put it in front of you as your tableau. Every pair of duo counts as 1 point. Okay? But they also give you an action. This lets you take another turn. This one allows you to draw the top card. This one allows you to dive through either discard pile, take 1 card from it, and put them all back in the same order as they were without shuffling it. And this one, and make sure it's not 2 sharks and not 2 humans. It's got to be a shark and a human. So you could not play this. You would have to play this. And if you do that, you get to randomly steal a card from someone else's hand. These all are in front of you, and however many pairs you have, you get 1 point each. Other ways to score, this is there's set collection, there's bonus scoring, and then the mermaids are a combination of a couple of things. We'll get to them in a second. So with the set collection, however many of these you have is how many points you score. And all of these cards will always be in your hand. You will never play these cards until the end of the round. However many you have is how many points you get for the total set. So if you have 1 of these, you get 0. If you have 2 of these, you get 5. Penguins, 1, 3, 5. Shells and octopi. And how many, if you ever want to know how many are in the cards or in the total deck, the number is down here at the bottom. So there's 6 shells. Down here, these are bonus cards. You get 3 cards for each anchor. So even if you only have 1 of these, if you have anchor, which gives you 0 points for this card, if you have this, then you get 3 points for this card because you have 1 anchor. If you were to have both, you would get 5 from this pair and then 3 plus 3. So this is an 11-point combo. Nicely done. Exact same thing with the penguins. These are bonus scoring for your fish and your boat. And it gives you 1 point for each fish that you have. So if you were to have 2 fish in front of you that you've played, but you also have another fish in your hand, you would get 1, 2 plus 3, 1, 2 plus another one for that fish in your hand. So you would get a total of 3 points. The same would work with the boat. These are a little different. This works as a set collection in that if you ever get 4 in your hand at one time, you win not the round, you win the game. This, anybody who played Yu-Gi-Oh! Or watched Hugo, that is Exodia. However, these also give you bonus points for the most cards of the same color. If you have 1 mermaid, let's say you have 5 blues, 3 greens. If you have a mermaid, you get 5 points for your 5 blues. If you have 2, you get 5 points for your most, and then you get 3 points for the 3 greens that you have for your second most. Just remember that whites count as a group. So if you had 5 blues, 3 greens, and these 3 mermaids, you would get 5 for the green, 5 for the blue, but then, or 5 for the green, 3 for the blue, but then 3 for the white for your mermaids as well. And that's the game. You keep going until somebody gets 7 points. At that point, anyone who has 7 points can do one of 2 things. You can reveal your hand and say, that's it, round's over, and then everyone counts their points up. And the other way to end the game is to say last chance. Whoever says last chance shows their hand. You have to show that you have at least 7 points, and then everyone gets 1 more turn. And you're basically pushing your luck, because if somebody gets more points than you in that last turn for the whole game, for that whole round, I mean, then you only count your card color bonus, the same card color bonus that you would have gotten if you had a mermaid. And everyone else gets their regular points. But if you win the bet, so nobody outscores you for that round, and you still have the highest score after calling last chance, then everyone else only gets their color bonus, and you get all of your points plus a color bonus. And then depending on how many players you have, you would continue to play until somebody got, if it's 4 players, it's 30 points. So once someone gets 30 points in a 4-player game, the game is over, and, you know, there's a tiebreaker, yada, yada. Hugo, you silly goose. Okay. All right. So that is sea salt and paper. Let's talk about my breakdown of it. Remember, I'm not going to tell you whether I like this game or not, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I will talk to you. Let's first start about complicatedness. And immediately when you look and you see how small the box is, there's only 58 cards. Those are the only components. You know, you immediately think, oh, this is going to be like 1-page rules. There's going to be like 2 or 3 rules here. Just go. Super easy. It isn't. There are some edge cases. There's cards that do things that don't quite... Like, you know, for your sharks, for every other duo, it's the same icon. You get the same icon you get to play, but for the sharks, it's got to be a shark and a human, so that's kind of weird. Like, for these, it allows you to score on the duo cards that are in your hand and aren't on the board. If you ever run out of the draw deck, this one's really weird. It's a really weird edge case. If you ever run out of your draw deck, and somebody has to take their turn before the end of the round, and there's no cards to draw, the round immediately ends and no one scores. I would not call this game... I wouldn't call this rule set streamlined. I would say it's neither streamlined nor complicated. I would say it's right in the middle, which for me, it's probably not like... I'm probably not going to take people who play standard cards and have only ever played standard cards their whole lives, like poker, rummy, euchre, spades, hearts. I probably wouldn't show them this first if I'm trying to bridge the gap between standard cards and modern board gaming card games. There are other ones I would use first. As far as complexity goes, gameplay, at first you're like, oh, I've only got 2 choices. I'm going to draw 2 cards, and then I've got 2 choices which one I get rid of, and then I got 2 choices which discard pile to put it in, or I just pick up a discard pile. And when you first start playing, you're like, this is incredibly simplistic. There's more rules than there is gameplay. What's going on? I will say after 2 or 3 games, you start to see some subtle strategies or some subtle tactics that you can do, mostly revolving around a memory mechanic. And that's remembering what are other players going after. And like for like the crab special ability, what cards are in which discard pile and things like that. And then there's always that little bit of decision at the end. I've got 7 points. Do I cold dead it now? Do I wait till I get some more points? Or do I push my luck and call last chance and see if I can't really get a nice big swing? So there's a little bit more strategy. No, there isn't. There's a little bit more tactical planning. There's a little bit more complexity in this game than at first blush. I wouldn't call it very complex. I would call it fairly simple. So I would say it's neither. It's dead in the middle on rule set. It's neither complicated nor streamlined, and I would say it's not completely simple, but it's mostly simple. It's fairly simple, and as far as mastery goes, in that after 5 or 10 games, you're gonna be on pretty much on autopilot. Like, you should have this game mastered at 5 to 10 games. I would call this game incredibly easy to master. The hardest thing about this game is getting the rule set down. And once you get the rule set down, it'll take a couple of games to to figure out how you want to go with this game tactically and how do you want to plan for this. And then it's not much longer before you have it mastered. So as a bonus, we'll talk about planning. I think this game has the teeniest amount of strategy and it's almost completely tactical. And we described that earlier on in the week on another video. And I'll put a link for that if you want to go back, and they're all that video is going to be timestamped, so you can go to the description and go straight to tactics versus strategy discussion and look that up if you're wondering about that. There's a little bonus category, planning. All right, that's it. This has gone longer than I wanted to, just like I thought it would. And I'm going to do the outro while I drink my chai tea. Bye, everybody. This is the outro song. Hugo is ruining the game, but that's okay because he's so adorable. See everybody tonight.